Welcome back to Gillette Stadium, everybody. My name is Mike Petraglia, joined as always by Patriots expert columnist for WEEI.com, Chris Price. Chris, we're standing in an end zone. That seems to be a very appropriate place to be after the Patriots' LeGarrette Blount set a Patriots playoff record with four rushing touchdowns. Yeah, you can count. And 3 of them on the 2-yard variety and 1 of 73 yards, breaking really the game wide open at that point. The Patriots rolled to a 43-22 win over Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts in the on-again, off-again rainstorms here at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots are in the AFC Championship for a 3rd consecutive season. Chris, what was the biggest takeaway for you from this big divisional playoff victory?
This is a big, physical, mentally tough, and physically tough team on both sides of the ball. They can beat you a number of different ways. Now, the Colts, let's be fair here, the Colts are not a great defensive team.
No.
Especially against the run. They're one of the worst teams in the league against the run this year, but the Patriots were able to execute when they needed to. They were able to run the ball. They were able to run the ball fairly consistently tonight. They were able to get very good performances out of LeGarrette Blount, Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen chipped in as well. If they bring this dimension going forward offensively, this is going to be a tough team to stop. This is going to be a very difficult offense to stop. If they're able to continue to move the chains on the ground, especially this time of year, that's huge for this team.
Well, I thought also a big moment in the game right off the tap was the interception by Alfonso Dennard, 1 of 2 he had on the night, really setting the tempo for the Patriots defense. It was like they were inside Andrew Luck's mind really from the get-go, and obviously when Bill Belichick is your head coach, you shouldn't be that surprised with that. But the game plan defensively for the Patriots, what did you think, and what were the things that stood out the most to you?
I thought they got great play from their linebackers today. Really. Jamie Collins in particular, the rookie linebacker. He'd been coming along to this point in the season, but this really was a revelation. I thought he got a lot of the snaps that previously went to Brandon Spikes, and he really showed me a lot this evening. Had a great tackle for loss, had a sack, had an interception, was very active, particularly in pass coverage, working extensively against Colby Fleener. Very impressive work. Dante Hightower, also very impressive. He talked very frankly this week about his shortcomings and about how he struggled at times this year. He appears to be in a place where he really needs to be right now. So really defensively, the group that stood out for me were the linebackers. I know the cornerbacks came away with a couple of picks, but that linebacking core was really impressive tonight.
Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I found it fascinating that Jamie Collins had the kind of game he did, including the interception, on the day that the story broke that allegedly Brandon Spikes missed a meeting on the Friday of the bye week, during the snowstorm. That was the same day of the snowstorm. And the report from Chris Mortensen of ESPN was that that was the final straw from Bill Belichick, and they finally decided, okay, you've got a bad enough banged up knee, you're going on injured reserve. Goodbye for the rest of the season. Jamie Collins is the future of this team, or part of it, in their linebacking core.
One of the things that really stood out for me over the course of the year when you're talking about Collins, the game, he's kind of slowed down a little bit. You're talking about a very hyper-athletic guy who really had a tendency, at least through a sizable portion here, to overrun plays. And now he seems to kind of ratchet it back a little bit, and it's paying off. There were a couple times tonight where he was caught out of position, particularly on running plays. But overall, he's where he needs to be. Look, he's not going to be a Pro Bowl linebacker as a rookie. But I think where he is right now, he's playing the kind of defense that's going to serve this team well going forward, this year in particular.
All right, Jamie Collins, certainly an unsung hero of this game, but maybe the #1 unsung hero of the game to me, Stephen Gostkowski. Ryan Allen gets tackled, crunched on that play that turned into a safety when Danny Aiken snapped it over his head. And it was Stephen Gostkowski who had to step into the fold and step into the fire and punt, and I thought he did a fabulous job. And Tom Brady, of course, toward the end of the game, in the second half, he also held on a couple of extra points for Gostkowski. But talk about what the job that Stephen Gostkowski did as a punter.
I think he did a very good job. I think he did as well as could be expected. It was a little bit interesting to see him out there in that role. Some of us speculated that it might have been Brady, knowing Brady's ability and in his affinity for punting.
No way in the world they'd risk that.
Exactly. But I was surprised, though, that they saw him in. We saw him in there as a holder. I thought that was very interesting. I know Ryan Mallett has some background there, and it looked like Mallett was on the sidelines getting ready to do that job. So I'm going to be fascinated how they approach this going forward, because obviously Gostkowski, you don't want to put too much on his plate. I know it's easy to say, well, just be a kicker, be a punter, but if Gostkowski goes down, then you're really in trouble. So I would imagine, depending on the severity, obviously, of Allen's injury right now, there's some punters out there, there's some available names out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Patriots at least maybe kick the tires on a couple of those guys this week, depending, again, on the severity of the injury.
All right, Chris. Well, the Patriots are in the AFC Championship once again for the third consecutive year, but this time it will not be against the Baltimore Ravens. We know that much. It'll be fascinating to see how the week unfolds here at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots were able to march through the raindrops here at Gillette and come away with a 43-22 win over Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts. From a wet and soggy Gillette Stadium, he's Christopher Price. I'm Mike Petraglia, WEEI.com.